What's going on, guys? Jackson here from Vendetta Sports Media, and thanks for watching this episode of our 2022 NBA offseason guide for all of the NBA teams. If you guys enjoyed today's video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and go ahead and hit the notification bell so you can be notified whenever a new episode drops. Also, check the link down in the description below. There you can follow us on Twitter, on Instagram, and also our TikTok. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoy the video. In this episode, we'll be taking a look at the Utah Jazz. Now, in full transparency, the Jazz were not a team I was expecting to do right now, especially since most of the offseason guides that I've done, gotten recorded, script-wise and everything, they've all been about the Western Conference, and I really wanted to do some more digging into the Eastern Conference teams. But with recent events that have aspired over the past few days, those plans have kinda changed. In case you have not heard, Quinn Snyder is stepping away as head coach of the Utah Jazz nearly 7 years to the day that he was hired. Snyder seemed to always find regular season success, but was never able to make it past the second round of the playoffs. It's never easy to go out and find another head coach that has what it takes to succeed, but Snyder's departure might be the first domino that could spill over into much larger offseason moves across the NBA. Trade rumors had been swirling around Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert since Utah's exit from the playoffs. Mitchell seems unhappy with the team's lack of success, and for years now we keep hearing that Mitchell and Gobert really don't like each other. Granted, you could have your personal issues off the court and still function on the court, but again, from the reports that have come out, this doesn't seem like that was necessarily the case. I've always had the belief that if any of the two stars were to be traded, Gobert would be the first one to go. But now the word is out that supposedly Mitchell is feeling uneasy around the whole Quinn Snyder stepping away situation, I'm not 100% sure anymore. One positive of this entire situation is that the Jazz now have Danny Ainge as their general manager, meaning if there is a trade that goes down for either Mitchell or Gobert, the Jazz will receive significant compensation for either of the two stars. With so much change within the organization and a lack of significant assets to trade away to try and compete, it's hard to see Utah, if they want to win a title, to try and run it back as is next season. In terms of cap space, there is no cap space for the Jazz. $22 million for a 34-year-old Conley and $19.5 million for a 33-year-old Bogdanovic stings. Their age makes them near untradeable without attaching a first-round pick to try to move off of their contracts. Clarkson for $13 million is fine, but if things do get nuclear this offseason, you could always get a pretty decent package out of him from a contender. No one else, besides Mitchell and Gobert, of course, makes a significant amount of money that the Jazz could really use and try to shed to try to get better this offseason. Now, I don't think things get nuclear this offseason, but Ainge definitely has some options. Like I previously said, Gobert should be the one to get traded if the Jazz can only hang on to one of Mitchell and Gobert. A Gobert for DeAndre Ayton swap has been thrown out there, and such a trade could actually be a win-win for both sides. The Jazz would still need to pay Ayton, but he would cost a lot less and would still do a pretty good job down low defensively. The Charlotte Hornets are another interesting destination for Gobert. The Hornets are on the up and could really use some help defensively, especially from a big. Gordon Hayward is also a Danny Ainge guy, so maybe there's a reunion in Utah? I would really be curious to see how Jazz fans would react to Hayward returning to Utah. Other suitors could be Chicago if they wanted to shed the final year of Vucevic's contract, or maybe even Detroit if they wanted to cash in on Jeremy Grant and use some very down the line first rounders to try and lure the Jazz into sending them Gobert. As for potential Mitchell trades, there's not a lot of options. The Heat seem to be potential early frontrunners, but I could totally be wrong about that. The depth that the Heat had this past season was vital for their run into the Eastern Conference Finals. I think Hero is a little slightly overhyped, and we're not entirely sure where Victor Oladipo is in trying to get back to his former All-Star self. So a trade for Mitchell would really dig into the depth of that Heat lineup, which again, they desperately needed to compete in the East. New Orleans has the most ammo of anyone in terms of picks and players, and I mean, just a combo of Mitchell between Zion would be nasty. There's a lot of push for the Knicks to go out and get Mitchell, but I just don't see what assets the Knicks have to go and get a star like Mitchell, especially if the Knicks are wanting to hang on to RJ Barrett and get Mitchell. I just really don't see it happening. I already said the nuclear option won't happen this offseason, but it is still an option. Ainge could decide that it's time to go full rebuild and trade everyone. It might not be the worst option in all honesty, especially if you're having to trade picks just to shed some bad contracts. The hauls for both Gobert and Mitchell would cover any loss taken. And early on in the season, if Ainge does decide to try to run it back or make small moves here and there to try and improve, but they just can't seem to find consistency and are falling down almost towards the play-in, you might have to look at the trade deadline to move off of somebody and make a significant move of some sort. Considering that the Jazz have 0 picks in the upcoming draft, there is little room for Utah to do anything significant to make themselves better. Perhaps the Mitchell and Gobert championship window has officially closed. Or maybe Ainge has a few tricks up his sleeves this offseason and, like I said a moment ago, waits until the trade deadline to try and make any major move. But the odds are not in Utah's favor, and with options limited, the Mitchell and Gobert era may soon be coming to an end. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of our 2022 NBA Offseason Guide series. If you guys enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you can be notified whenever a new episode drops. This is Jackson Law from Vendetta Sports Media signing off, and I will see you guys next time.